Hey guys, it's Nancy. Before this video starts, I do say that I was like 8 years old in my Go Vegan video. Previously, I understand I was like 11 or 10. I don't know if I was necessarily 8. So, the age I'm not 100% sure of, but I was like around that age. Yeah. Hey guys, it's Nancy. I made a Go Vegan video when I was about 8 years old that kind of blew up back in the day. That was like a lot of views, and I'm 21 now, so it's like 13 years later I'm making another video. And it's ironic because I just took a shower, and when I made that Go Vegan video I had also taken a shower after that, except I brushed my hair this time because yeah, I just wanted it brushed. But excuse me if I get a little angry because I was just having a debate with some people on Discord about this whole thing, and it still bothers me, and I still get riled up about it. And back in middle school, I lost a lot of friends because I was very up in arms about people going vegan, and I was very persistent about it and upset and bothered, traumatized, triggered, which all are very valid because of what's going on. But then towards high school, I calmed down a bit. I didn't talk about it anymore. I didn't really care as much. I still cared, but I was very numb to the idea of other people doing it. Like, if people ate meat in front of me, it was just very, like, an indifference, numbing attitude. Like, I didn't care at all. I was like, you can eat meat just as long as I'm not eating it. I'm not really that type of vegan that's gonna be upset if you're eating meat in front of me. Like, I don't really care. It was just kind of like a numbing thing to me. And people would always ask me, like, new people I would meet all the time. All the time, people would ask me if I was eating with them. They'd be like, oh, I kind of feel guilty if I eat meat in front of you. Like, is it okay? And I'd be like, yeah, like, it's totally fine. You don't have to feel guilty at all. Like, I don't care. And I'd always have to give this auto response of like, oh, I don't care if you eat meat. It's fine. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't care. I'm not like that. And people would always ask me still, like, new people I would meet, people, when they would find out that I don't eat meat, they'd be like, is it okay if I do? And after a few years of people asking me that, I feel like it kind of woke something up in me where now I'm like, actually, I do care if you eat meat in front of me. Like, actually, now that you've asked for the 10,000th time, it's actually starting to get to me, and I'm actually starting to give a shit again. And now I'm, especially since I have cats. Like, I have two cats, Aladdin and Jasmine. I've had them for the past 2 years since they were like 3-4 weeks old, very young. And ever since I've had cats, it's like my level of attachment towards animals, all animals, has grown tremendously at a level that it hasn't been at before. And seeing, that cats can have an emotional attachment to me, which I haven't really experienced before, and for me to get attached to them, and seeing how they're so intelligent and smart and emotional, and I'm like, it's like people are eating cows and pigs, and it just kind of restarted that conversation, that thought process I was having when I first went vegan when I was around 8 years old. And it just kind of, woke something up in me. So now I am really up in arms about it again. And I won't, like, go out of my way to fight people on it, but, I've got this bipolar personality when it comes to being vegan, because there's a part of me that's like, okay, just don't argue about it. And then the other part of me is like, well, why am I not arguing about it? Because the like, this isn't a normal thing that we should have be normalized. Like, what the fuck kind of shit is this? Like, what are we doing? And we should talk about it because it's wrong on a common sense level, and I think everyone can come to an agreement that it's wrong, meat eaters included. It's the fact that meat eaters want to act like it being wrong is justified for A, B, and Z, whatever their reasons are, and I'm going to go through that right now. I'm going to try to make this video quick. I know I've been talking non-stop without a pause, but I'm really trying to get every word in fast because I have to go soon. But, okay, so the first thing is people say, well, I know it's wrong. I know killing animals is wrong, but it tastes so good. You know, sir, a lot of things taste so good. If I told you humans taste good, does that justify eating humans? No. And the answer isn't yes, oh, I should do that too. No, the answer is don't do that at all. Okay, that's not the point I'm trying to make. A lot of things taste good, and on top of that, meat doesn't even taste good, is the funniest part. Because the thing that tastes good about the meat is the spices that are on top of it. What spice, the salt, all the spices that you add to it, that is the thing that tastes good. Take the spices off, take the salt off, don't cook it, and eat it raw from the dead animal on the grass. Eat it, and you tell me, sir, if that still tastes good. Because the answer is no. It does not taste good, and it is not appetizing. You don't look at a dead bird on the street and think, yummy, I want to fucking eat that shit. No, you don't. But if it was cut up, cooked, added spices, then you would be like, well, if I didn't know if it was a bird and it smelled good. Oh, okay. So do you see how that doesn't make sense? So you saying, well, it tastes good doesn't justify anything because it doesn't taste good. The cooked part and the spices and the salt taste good. So my answer to that is take the salt, take the spices, and put it on your tongue. There you have it, sir. You don't need to kill an animal to get that flavor. And also my other argument to that is, like, there's so many options. There's thousands of options that we have where we don't need to actually commit murder to, like, have something that tastes good. From somebody who's been vegan for like 13 years, 14 years, I'm fully satisfied. I eat tons of food that tastes amazing. I don't need to commit murder for my taste buds to be satisfied. I really don't. 1 second. Also, on top of that, your taste buds change. So that's 3 things I just listed, right? On your argument for meat eaters who say that. Your taste buds change over time. Like, if I eat chicken now, it doesn't even taste good. It tastes like a dead animal, quite literally, to be honest. It tastes gross. It tastes unsatisfying. It tastes like rubber. It has no flavor at all. The only thing I'm really tasting are the spices. Take the spices off, tastes absolutely like nothing. And when I tell people, oh, it tastes like nothing, they're like, oh, that's because you didn't add the spices. Oh, so you're proving my point that it's the spices that make it taste good, huh? Like I have to add things to make it taste good? You're just basically saying that it doesn't taste good then. Another thing is, I don't have to cook celery and add a bunch of spices for it to taste good. I can eat celery without adding anything to it and without cooking it, and it tastes amazing just as it is because it's clean and it's fresh and it has a lot of water in it. And fruits and vegetables have a lot of water in it, and we're like, what, 90% water? I don't know the exact percentage on it, don't quote me on that, but we have a lot of water in us. So why would you not want to eat foods that contain lots of water in it if you contain a lot of water? Like, do you like see the point I'm trying to make? Okay. The next thing is people saying, oh, killing animals, what's going on with killing animals? It's not like the Holocaust. The Holocaust is much worse. From a present standpoint of now, in the present moment, killing animals is worse than the Holocaust. Why? Because the Holocaust ended. It ended. It's not happening right now. Killing animals is still happening. So if we're comparing at a present, in the present moment, as of right now, what's going on currently right now, killing animals is worse because the Holocaust doesn't exist in this present moment. Killing animals does exist, which is why that is worse. If they were happening at the same time, which they were, because killing animals has been going on for a very long time, obviously I would say the Holocaust is probably worse because that's our own species. But it's debatable. There are vegans out there who say, it's just as bad, and why are we comparing? And that's another argument. Why do we have to compare what's worse, what's best, who's the best, who's the worst? Why can't we all just say that everything has value? We don't have to compare it. Okay? The Holocaust was bad, and so is killing animals. We don't have to say what's better, what is worse. They're both bad. Like, we don't have to compare it either. And on top of that, what's happening in North Korea is going on currently. Obviously, we don't have full-on evidence because we're not there, thank God. But there is a form of it still happening. So I'm not saying nothing is happening currently with humans not being treated well. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that both are bad, okay? Like, it's all just bad. Anything that involves torturing, abusing, and killing any living creature of any kind is wrong, and I think we can all agree on that. Another thing people say, well, in the Bible, like, they'll use religion to justify murder. Like, they're like, well, in the Bible, God said it's okay to eat meat. First of all, let's talk about the Bible, because that is a whole different discussion on what the Bible actually was. In my opinion, the Bible is a book on psychology and of the mind. All the characters and stories in the book, all the characters in the Bible are states of consciousness. They're not actually real people. I think the whole book wasn't supposed to be taken literal. It was supposed to be an analogy and on the mind, and it was supposed to intentionally deceive people, which is what Jesus literally says. He has a quote in there about why he speaks in parables. Parables is an analogy, by the way, because he says they haven't seeked the kingdom within them, or they haven't seeked the kingdom of heaven. And then there's another quote in there that says the kingdom of heaven is within you. So basically Jesus is saying they haven't looked within themselves, so I don't want to tell them the answer, because then they're going to use it for bad and for selfish reasons. And when you look within yourself, which is when you meditate, you are looking through a lens of love. Like, you'll find that you are actually all love within, and you're going to use it for good. So Jesus' state of consciousness, intentionally deceived people because he didn't want people using it for evil if they knew the real answer to life, which is to love everybody and to meditate. And I believe that imagination creates reality. I really do believe that. And I can make a whole other video going down that topic. But if you want to argue the religion standpoint on your end, okay, let's do it. Let's go from that standpoint, because I could do that too. I could do anything, pretty much. So, when did they eat meat? When they were in the desert? When they were in the desert and they didn't have grocery stores? When they didn't have options for anything? Like, there was nothing. They were in the fucking desert. They didn't have no other options. The fact is, they literally had to ask God. They were like, can we please have meat, like something else? And God wasn't happy. He wasn't like, oh my God, like, I'm so happy, here you guys go. He was like, I don't want to fucking have to do this. It's the fact that humans had to ask God. Why didn't God just give it to them straight up in the first place? Huh? That's something to question. It's the fact that humans had to ask for it. It wasn't given to them first. They had to ask. And when God did give it to them, he wasn't fucking happy. He wasn't smiling, giving it to them on a silver platter. He was like, "Here you guys go." He was pretty upset when he was doing it. So that should show you something in itself, okay? Another thing, what time period was it? Because they were in survival mode. So you're comparing a story when they were in survival mode, when they were literally on the verge of dying and had no other options. Right? They were in survival mode. Are we in survival mode? We got a grocery store on every block. And we have so many different brands. Not only do we have Whole Foods, we have Target, we have, depending which state you're in, Ralph's, Safeway, we got all these grocery store options, Costco, on every block. And right when you walk in, all these fruits and vegetables, right at the front. Like, we got all these fucking options. Thousands of options. They didn't have that in the desert. They didn't have that luxury of having all these motherfucking options. So when you try to tell me, well, in the Bible, first of all, in the Bible, they didn't drive cars. They didn't have iPhones. So does that mean you shouldn't have a car and not drive, and you shouldn't drive a car and not have an iPhone? Because they didn't have it back in the day. So if you're going to follow the Bible to a T, why don't you follow it to a T? Instead of picking and choosing which shit you want to fucking justify and say, well, they ate meat, they killed animals in the Bible, they were allowed, God said it was allowed, so I can justify killing animals too. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. I don't care what the Bible says. It is not a religion thing. It is not a religion thing. It was a story. They were in survival mode. They had no other fucking options. They had no other options. That was what they had to do to live. Because there was nothing else. They were quite literally gonna die. Because the only thing they had was, what, bread? When you go to the grocery store, is your only option bread? Is that your only option? No. Common sense wise. Like, you guys have so many options. There is no excuse to live in that time period. You were not in that time period. It was a different time period. And that's me arguing from the religion standpoint. I don't even believe that these stories in the Bible actually happened. I'm just going on your point of view and trying to justify from your point of view. But at the end of the day, I don't believe Moses split the sea in half. I think what he did is when he went, it's a state of consciousness, Moses went into a meditation, separated the physical and the spiritual world. That's what he was doing. When he split the sea in half, he separated the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and he separated his thoughts from himself and was able to view it from an outside perspective. That's what I really think. But if we're going to argue from your guys' point of view, there you guys go. They were in the fucking desert. They had no options. They didn't have a grocery store. And on top of that, you guys are so privileged. Like, you feel like you need to murder people to feel satisfied. That is like a mental illness. That is a mental illness. The fact that you feel like you need to torture and kill a living animal who has emotions and feelings for you to feel good inside, that means there's something wrong with you if you feel the need to do that. Oh, I don't do it, Nancy. I don't go out and do it myself. Oh, you pay somebody to do it for you. That's worse. That's worse. Because now you don't feel the guilt as much because you're getting somebody else doing it for you, so you don't have to feel as guilty. Another thing I want to make is dogs. If you have a pet dog or you have a pet cat, you give them the same food every single day. They get the same food, same flavor every day. Are they complaining? I think dogs, I'd argue that dogs are a lot happier than a lot of other humans. A lot of dogs have a very happy life, and they eat, what, twice a day? Y'all need to eat 10 times a day to feel fucking good. Dogs eat twice a day, and it's the same food every single day. The same food every day. You have thousands of options to go vegan, thousands of options, and you guys are still unsatisfied. Like, you guys are so spoiled and privileged. Like, you need all these options when your pets eat the same shit every day. And they're not complaining. Like, but y'all always gotta have an issue with everything. Another thing is, why do you guys have to... The problem with meat eaters is you guys pick and choose which animals have value and which ones don't. And that's what bothers me. Because y'all wouldn't eat your dog or your cat. Great. I am so glad that we live in a world where we've justified and normalized not doing that. That is a very great, amazing thing, and I want it to stay that way. But why can't you guys keep that same energy with all the other animals? Why are you trying to justify it's okay to kill a pig but not my dog? And it doesn't even have to be your dog. You're like any dog. It's okay to not kill any dog, but it's okay to kill a pig. Why are you trying to justify and compare and contrast? Like, they all have value. I'm not saying to kill a dog. I am not in any way saying that. I'm saying that you guys have this double standard of trying to justify why it's okay to kill some and be like, well, that's because cows and pig taste good. Okay, if I told you dog tastes good, would you... Like, that's the most stupid argument you could ever say. And I just went back at the beginning of this video on the taste buds thing. I just named like 4 reasons on why that's so stupid to say. So, there's that. And, also, it's like, it's racist. Tell me how it's not racist. What's the difference between eating cows and pigs, but not eating cats and dogs? And how is that not racist? And then somebody said in Discord, they're like, well, it's not racist because racist people do that out of hate reasons. They don't, like, eat them for nutrition. So, if a racist person eats the person, then that justifies them not being racist? That sounds worse, if you ask me. That sounds way worse. Because you're actually, it just sounds, like, really disturbing. It sounds like a horror, scary movie. What that person just said is what I'm quoting again. Like, so if the racist person eats that person, then they're not racist because they're eating them for nutrition. Like, how is it not racist to justify not killing some, like, to say some animals have value and the other ones don't? And the reason it sounds crazy and, oh, it's not racist, because you guys normalized it. You guys normalized it. And what I'm trying to say is that it's not normal. You need to take a step back and realize that is not normal. And for y'all to act like humans are the best thing in the whole world. First of all, humans are mammals. Cows are mammals. Pigs are mammals. You know we're all mammals? Do you know that we're all, like, do you actually know we're all mammals? Like, is everybody fully aware of that? Like, what are humans not some form, type of animal? Okay, what are we? What are we then? Everyone's an animal, but humans are not animals. We are also animals. We're just a different species. Like, we're also mammals. We're all mammals. my mind's kind of blank right now. But, we're all mammals, and it's just, you guys need to stop justifying murder and just admit that you're wrong. And you guys will, some of you will admit, oh, it is wrong, I know it's wrong, but I'm gonna continue to do it because of nutrition and survival. And then they'll use the excuse of survival. I just told you we have thousands of options, we have so many grocery stores. There is no, you cannot use that argument for survival ever again. Ever. There is no survival. You have a grocery store. We're not in the wild, okay? You need to cut it out with the survival shit. And nutritious, I've been vegan for like 13 years, and I'm alive and healthy and living. Do you see me in, oh my god, I need to survive. Oh my god, nutrition. I need nutrition. No, I'm not doing that. In fact, I'm very healthy. I'd argue that I'm actually a lot healthier than a lot of meat eaters combined. I'm extremely healthy, and I don't take any supplements. I know some people who are vegan have to take B12 supplements. I know my dad had to take B12 supplements, but I don't know if I believe in that entirely. Like, you can take you can look up foods with B12 in it. There's so many foods that already have it. I think that might be a concern if you're like all raw fruitarian, like a fruitarian, raw fruit and vegetables. But I think if you're just vegan, I don't think that really is an issue. There's just so many options, and there's just no reason to justify it anymore. And I think in the future, more people are gonna be vegan. Like, I don't even think meat eating is gonna be a thing. I think it's gonna be a very, you're gonna be a minority. The minority, not you're gonna be a minority, but it's gonna be the minority to eat meat and dairy. I think it's gonna get to that point, because if you guys don't know, when I was 8 years old, 13 years ago, nobody knew what vegan was. When I told people I'm vegan, they were like, what is that? People had to look it up. No, that wasn't really a thing. It was less than 5% of the world was vegan. It was nobody knew what that was. There were no vegan things, alternatives in the store. It was so rare for a vegan cheese, vegan cream cheese, vegan chicken. That wasn't really a thing yet, I think. It was just kind of this, it was what is that? It sounds weird. It wasn't a normal thing. Now, everyone knows what vegan is. Every single person knows what vegan is. I don't need to explain, as I did in the past, I don't need to explain what that is to people. Everybody knows what that is. And everywhere you go, especially in LA, there's so many vegan restaurants options, and even at a place that isn't necessarily a vegan place. What, you can't just order pasta with sauce and say just no meat please, or no cheese thanks? Is it that hard to say no cheese, no meat? And the people concerned about, oh, when I go out with my friends and there's no vegan options, or I don't eat meat. First of all, every restaurant in the world has a vegan option, okay? And then second of all, oh, you're scared? So why don't you just show up to the table with your friends and say, sorry guys, and look at the menu and say, sorry guys, I'm gonna take the option that doesn't involve murdering animals, thank you very much. I think I'm gonna go for that today. The one that doesn't involve murdering and abusing animals, thanks. And if they make fun of you, then that's on them. That's another thing that bothers me, is the people that make fun of vegans. Are you kidding me? Like, like you're the one murdering animals, and you're gonna make fun of me for not murdering? You're gonna make fun of me for not murdering? Are you kidding me right now? You should be thanking us, praising us, and saying, oh my God, I want to do that too. For you to put down somebody for not committing murder is disgusting. That is disgusting. It's one thing to disagree. It's another thing to bully somebody for not committing murder. Because that's what it is. Can we just state the obvious right now? Because what is it? And oh, well, Nancy, we don't have to torture them. We just have to kill them. Oh, okay. That is still a form of torture. It just goes back to justifying. You guys just keep justifying and justifying. Oh, we just have to kill them nicely. No, there's no killing nicely, bro. There's no killing nicely. Stop justifying it. And you guys just need to come to terms with reality. That we don't live in that fucking time period anymore. We are advanced meat eaters. You guys just want to use the iPhone 6 when we have the iPhone 14. You guys want to ride horses instead of driving a car. Let me tell you that you need to adapt and advance to society already and stop living in the 1300s, because we are not there anymore. Stop using an iPhone 6 when we got the iPhone 14. You guys need to upgrade and adapt, because that is where the future is. The future is vegan. And I think these AIs that could be replacing humans, I think it's karma. I think it's all the dead animals, their spirits, just trying to get revenge and karma for everything that's happening. That's like a theory. That's a possibility. I hope it doesn't get to that point, but I think it's really bad karma. And I also think a lot of people who eat meat are very depressed, and they get sick a lot. People who eat dairy, I think they're very depressed. They're on antidepressants. They drink a lot of alcohol, like they're alcoholics. Most of the meat eaters I know are very, like, they're either very depressed, on antidepressants, or they're alcoholics. Like, there's you know, like, it's not this rainbow and sunshine lifestyle. And it's also bad karma, because when you're eating a dead animal, you're eating like all their fears when they died. Like, you're eating the fears, and you're just like taking on that energy. And then you wonder why you're sad. Maybe because you're eating animals who were very afraid and sad before they died. And then you took on that energy. And the animals that died nicely, sorry bro, there's no way you're not dying nicely. Like, that animal's still scared as fuck before it dies. And you're gonna wait for the animal to die before, 1 second. My neighbors. You're gonna wait for the animal to die before eating it. So if your dog died, are you gonna eat it when it's dead? Like, do you see how that just sounds like really horrific? And it just goes back to the idea of what I was saying, that you guys pick and choose which animals have value and which ones don't. And that's a debate. That's a debate to be made, because it's not about comparing, but you know, dogs can actually smell drugs. If you have drugs on you, humans can't do that. Tigers can run faster than humans. Okay, like, there's certain things certain animals can do that humans can't. So for you to act like they're so below us when they can do things that we can't even do is just absurd. Like all living creatures have value, and we shouldn't act like they don't. Also, I've noticed people who eat meat and dairy, like you go to the bathroom after them and it smells bad. You go to the bathroom after somebody who's vegan goes to the bathroom and it doesn't smell bad. It smells like nothing. But people who eat meat, it smells bad. And y'all think that's normal. You're like, oh, that's a normal thing. Like, no, bro, that's not normal. Like, it's not supposed to smell bad. Like, that's a reflection of what's going on internally inside you. So there's so many reasons in every reason to go vegan. The health standpoint, I can get into a whole other discussion with dairy. I never get sick with dairy. Dairy actually lowers your immune system, I think. When I eat dairy and I'm around, and I'm not lactose intolerant. Like I won't like my stomach won't hurt. I'll get a cold, or I'll get like strep throat or something along those lines if I eat dairy. Usually after a few weeks, if I'm around somebody who's sick, has any sort of sickness, and I'm next to them, I'll get it. If I'm eating dairy and I'm next to a person who's sick, I'll get it. And normally anybody who's around a sick person will get that sickness. And people who eat dairy are like that. Like, everybody's like that. And one sec. And when I don't eat dairy, I could be around somebody who's sick and I won't get it. I won't get it at all. Unless the only time that I might get it is if I'm not sleeping. That's the only thing. If I'm not really sleeping. Like, because that weakens your immune system. But if that's it. But otherwise, I won't get it. I could be around sick people. They could hug me and I won't get sick. Including coronavirus. I've never had COVID. My parents had COVID. They were hugging me. I told them not to. I don't know why they did that. They were like, you're gonna get it anyway. Never got it. They were hugging me. Never got COVID. Never had COVID. Not vaccinated either. Never got it. I don't have the antibodies. I never got COVID, like, in my life. So, what does that tell you? I don't eat dairy. So not only from a health standpoint, an ethical standpoint, and a common sense standpoint, a logical standpoint, you have no reason. You told me every reason, right? I got all the reasons. Taste, we went through that. And the privilege of having so many fucking options, and you guys are so damn spoiled. Like, you can't just be happy. Taste. And then, what was the other thing? Religion. I just went over that fucking shit. There's no fucking reason. Don't even give me the argument with religion. Okay? That's a whole different fucking subject. Religion itself is a subject, and if you want to argue the meat part in the religion, I just told you what damn time period was it? They were in the desert, bro. What other option? Are you in the desert? Stop. You look like an idiot when you talk about that. Oh, religion. Okay, taste buds, religion. What was the other thing? Is there another reason you eat meat other than it tastes good? And then religion justifying it? What? I'm trying to think before I end this video if there's like another valid reason. Oh, killing it nicely. No, I just told there's no killing it nicely, bro. What the fuck does that even mean? I mean, yeah, I guess you're not torturing it, so it's a better alternative, but you're still murdering. Like, can you guys take accountability for once? Can you take some fucking accountability and admit what you're doing is 100% wrong? And some of you guys will admit it, but you still won't stop. You're like, I know it's wrong, but I'm not gonna stop doing it. Okay, that's like a mental illness. You know that, right? Like, you got no self-control. Like, you know it's wrong, but you still do it. Like, that's not a flex, bro. That's not a flex. That's embarrassing. For you to do something that you know is wrong, but you still do it. You know how many things you can compare that to? Murdering, stealing, all these things. I know it's wrong, but I still do it. That is not a justification. That is not an excuse. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's normal for you to murder animals. We're not gonna normalize that. Oh, it's not a bad thing because it's normalized. Well, it's not gonna be. And another thing, if animals could talk and give consent, we'd have an entirely different fucking world right now. It would be a crime. It would be illegal to kill an animal of any kind, if animals could talk. And I'm sure there's a way to invent it. I'm sure there's a way we can create some sort of device to get animals and humans to communicate with each other. And I'm sure it's an invention that was proposed. But you know who would be in trouble? The meat eaters and the meat industries and the dairy industries, because they would go down instantly. Because if animals could start talking and say, no, I don't want you to kill me, if they could have consent and talk, oh my god, all the meat industries, everything would be shut down that day. Because at that point, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, they have a say. Like, they can actually talk, which I think is gonna happen in the future. I mean, we're creating Neuralink. What the fuck else are we gonna create? I think it's a very strong possibility. I think it's gonna happen, and when it does happen, it's gonna be so normalized to be vegan that the whole idea of eating meat is gonna be a foreign concept. It's gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe that used to happen. I can't believe we let it happen. I can't believe that was like a normal thing. It's gonna be so unheard of, and it's coming. So you guys need to get ready. And it is coming, because when I was 8 years old and I made a video about going vegan wasn't even like a thing yet. Nobody knew what that was. Now, everybody knows what it is. It's advancing, and I think within the next 13 years, we're going to be way more advanced. And then also, people have this thing with climate change, why it's better too, because of climate change. I wasn't even thinking of climate change. I just gave you 43 minutes of why it's wrong. And I didn't even talk about climate change. You see how, like, every reason just justifies why it's correct? And when I say, I told somebody, oh, when you guys go to the bathroom it smells, they're like, that's not a good enough reason to go vegan. Oh, so the murder part in itself, that alone isn't enough for you? And the fact that I have to make this video, also the smelling bad should be enough for you, because it's a reflection of what's going on internally. It's a health thing that you should look into. That's not normal. Y'all thought it's normal. You guys think it's normal. It's actually not normal, because I don't smell. If I walk out of the bathroom, I don't have a fear of somebody going in the bathroom after me. That's not a fear I carry. I'm fine. I don't fucking smell. It never smells. Nobody, like, and trust me, I have a sister who's very, like, sensitive to smell. 100% she would tell me if she smelled anything. Nobody smells anything. What was I saying? Just saying something. Oh yeah, thank you to myself for remembering. The fact that I have to make this video, the fact that I have to convince people not to murder animals when we aren't also animals, because we're mammals. The fact that I have to make this video is sad, it's embarrassing, and it's a tragedy in itself. That I have to make this video and convince people not to commit murder. That's embarrassing. Do you not see how that's embarrassing? The fact that I have to say these words and speak this and make this video. But the reason I do it is if I can get one fucking person to watch this and feel like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. You have a craving for meat? Take some fucking salt and pour it on your tongue. And fucking take a seat and read a book. You need to fucking relax. Okay? You're so damn fucking privileged and spoiled. There's so many options. You don't need fucking meat. And for me, I think more than meat, it was dairy. Getting rid of dairy was the hardest part for me. It was extremely hard. I had an extreme addiction to cheese pizza specifically, and just cake and dairy, everything dairy. I had a very big addiction. So I understand if you're cutting dairy out, it's hard, especially if you have that addiction. I'm not fucking here to say that it's easy. If you've been eating something your whole life and you're now stopping, I'm not saying it's fucking easy. But what motivated me wasn't just the animals, because for the dairy point of view, it wasn't really the animals, it was the health. I would get sick for a week or two, and I'd be like, you know what? This is not fucking worth it. Eating a cheese pizza and then getting fucking sick, like a cold or strep throat, it was so not fucking worth it. And every time I got sick, I would tell myself, is it fucking worth it? Because now you get a whole fucking week or two where you're fucking sick. Is it fucking worth it? And the answer was always no. It's not fucking worth it. It's never fucking worth it. Like, it's not fucking worth not feeling amazing all the time. Don't you want to feel good? You know it's not normal for us to get sick? Like, you're supposed to wake up and actually feel good. Like, you're not it's not a normal thing to wake up and feel like, oh my god, I feel awful all the time. Like that, and you guys think that's a normal thing. And when I would get sick after eating dairy, I'd be like, wow, like, this is what people feel like all the time at like a common standpoint, like a neutral point of view. Like, this is how people feel. And I was like, so nobody knows what it feels like to just not have their nose clogged and just like have a normal life and feel good and have energy. And you see people taking all these supplements for energy and drinking coffee for energy because they don't have it. And I'm like, wow, like, people don't have this naturally. Oh, maybe it's because they're eating meat and dairy. The way you guys feel after taking an energy drink or drinking coffee or supplements and feeling like that type of energy boost, that's how I feel naturally every day without taking anything. Did you guys know that you're supposed to kind of feel that naturally? Yet you guys feel like it's not normal to feel that, so you need to take all this shit. You need to fucking do all this shit. You don't really need to do any of that, actually. You drink a fucking smoothie, you're gonna get the same amount of fucking energy. I promise. And it might not happen right away, especially if, because you might have to go through a detox, because your body's gonna be like, what the fuck's going on? I'm used to eating meat and dairy all the time. What the fuck? So it's gonna detox, get rid of all that shit. Might take a few fucking weeks of being sick for that to happen. But once you get past that, it's a whole different side. And once you get past the addiction of dairy, it's just something, it's not appetizing. Yeah, cheese pizza still smells good, and I'm sure it tastes good. I still know what it tastes like. The taste in my mind never goes away, by the way. Even though I haven't had dairy or meat in so long, it never goes away. I still, if I want to taste it again, I can still taste it right now. I know exactly what it tastes like. It never goes away. So if you're worried about that, you shouldn't be. And then also, if you do eat it again, like 10 years later, it's going to taste exactly how you remembered it. And it's not going to be as awesome. You're going to just be like, I can live without it. Like, and I have been. Like, it's not the holy grail. It's not something you need. You just think that because you've been eating it for so long and you've normalized it. But I'm here to tell you it's not normal and it's not okay. And if shit was the other way around, if it was animals killing humans and eating humans, you'd be fucking upset. And you'd be hoping to God, if there was one, that they don't fucking kill you. And you'd be hoping and you'd be advocating and thanking people like me who stick up for you. So it's not justified. We're not carnivores. We're just not. You don't see an animal and think, I want to eat it, that looks good. Tigers, they see an animal and think that. They live in the wild, though. Like, animals, their instincts, like, that's just kind of how they are. But animals, humans, we don't live in the wild. Okay, that's number one. And that's not our first instinct unless we're literally on the verge of dying and in survival mode, which is pretty much all animals. And for cats and dogs, they were raised like that, and we just never change it. I don't know the science behind it. I'm not saying to make your cat and dog vegan. I'm not saying that at all. I think it's a little bit different. I think when cats see a mouse, their instinct is to kill or eat it. Even though they're not in the wild, that's still their instinct. Humans, our instinct isn't to see an animal and kill it. Our instinct is to pet it or to run from it if it's like a bear. But our instinct is not to catch it and kill it. And I don't believe that's our instinct, because there's people like me who don't want to do that and have compassion. And you don't see, there's some cats that are vegan or don't want to eat meat. Every cat thinks that way, right? The fact that there's some humans that don't want to eat meat and don't want to, and don't think that way and do have compassion naturally means it should tell you in itself that we are not carnivores, because there are humans who have compassion and know that it's wrong and don't want to kill them. There's not some cats that think that, right? So I'm saying if humans were carnivores, no human would be vegan. Like, it wouldn't even be a thought. We wouldn't have that level of compassion. We would just automatically kill animals. Like, there would be no humans that were vegan if we were carnivores. That's the point I'm trying to make. Just like how there's no tigers that are vegan. Like, you know what I mean? I think meat eaters know that I'm right. I think a lot of the reason why meat eaters make fun of vegans is because of a guilt standpoint. Like, they know it's wrong, so they project that onto people who are vegan and saying, no, you're wrong, because they don't want to face the reality that they are eating killed animals, because it's too painful of a reality to face. So instead of defending themselves more so, which they do, they'll attack and blame the vegans and act like, oh no, you're the problem. But really, they're projecting. Which tells you that if they're projecting, it means they know that they're wrong. And if they know that, and they don't want to face it because it's too hard to face, and if they know they're wrong and they don't want to face it because it's too hard to face, it means they have compassion. It means somewhere deep inside them, they feel bad and guilty, and they have compassion. Which goes to show you, every human being has compassion. Which means that we are not carnivores. If there is something inside of us that has this compassion, everyone combined, it means that we naturally, at a natural instinctual level, are not carnivores. If we had to ask God in religious texts for meat, we had to ask, then that means we weren't naturally like that. Because why didn't we just have it from day one in the beginning? Huh? Why didn't we just do that from the beginning? We didn't. We had to ask for it. Because they were in survival mode. So the fact that you had to ask means that it wasn't your first instinct. It was a thought. It was a second. It was a decision. It was something you thought about. It wasn't something you just went after. It was something you actually had to think and decide about. It was a thought, intellectual process. Right? Because you didn't get it right from the beginning. That wasn't the first thing. You're not born as a kid and think, oh my god, my first instinct, I need to kill these animals and eat them right now. That's not your first fucking instinct. Your first instinct is to play with the animals and hug them. That goes to show you, we also don't, our teeth are not made like tiger's teeth. We weren't born that way. There's so many reasons. So many reasons. This video is 56 minutes long, almost an hour. I'm ending it now. I'm sure there's so many reasons I can think of, but I just labeled like 75 reasons, I'm sure, of why it's wrong. I hope that's enough to convince you. I hope the murder point itself is enough. There's a whole section on the health reasons, but I really think that the murder part should be your number one reason, just because, like, you have to know what you're doing is wrong, and you gotta stop justifying why it's right. Stop justifying why it's right, and stop picking and choosing which animals have value and which ones don't. Grow up. What are you, a kid? Grow up, guys. It's time to adapt. There's so many options. Please be humble and have some fucking compassion. Alright? I don't really want to talk about this anymore, but just, there's no excuse, there's no reason. I really hope you guys wake up to the reality of that and realize what you're doing is wrong and actually commit and stop doing it, rather than realizing it's wrong but not deciding it to not do it anymore, because that's awful. That's like you must hate yourself, if anything. Like, to know you're doing something wrong but you still do it when you have a choice not to. Come on, guys. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's sad. And the fact that I have to make this video is sad. But one day, people will look back on this video and be like, wow, I can't believe that was a normal thing for people to be vegan. I can't believe Nancy even had to make a video like that. Like, because everyone's vegan now. But for some reason it wasn't a thing back in the day. You guys just normalized it because you guys all kind of think we're in survival mode, even though we're fucking not. So, yeah. Alright. Love you guys. And I hope you know I'm coming from a place of love. And I even though I'm angry, there's a lot of love within me about this topic. And I hope you guys understand that. And I do still have a lot of compassion for you guys, but I really want you guys to just open your eyes more. And that's the whole point of this video. So, thank you.